on I-75 south for 19 miles.
So I traveled from Rochester Hills, where I work, to Detroit to go to the public library to find a job. The library has a no cell phone, smoking, or food policy, and they are only open Monday and Wednesday from 10 to 6, Tuesday, Thursday, noon to 8. They're not open on Friday or Sunday, and they're open 10 to 6 on Saturday. And it took me about an hour to get there, so if I came on a Monday, Wednesday, or Saturday, I probably wouldn't even be able to go in. The entire library has about 20 computers total. It's pretty small compared to my local library, and there's not a very big book selection. When I tried to use the computer, I was stopped by a screen asking me to log in, and you cannot use one of the computers unless you have a Detroit library card. And the only time you can get a Detroit library card is if you live in Detroit. And thanks to my Highland Park residency, I was allowed to go and get a Detroit library card. If you want to log in as a guest that doesn't live in Detroit, you have to pay $1 to use the computers. The computer's internet worked pretty well for the most part. I was able to log on to Google Drive, I could load up my resume, and they even had a 2013 version of Microsoft Office. With that, I could write out my resume, I could use Publisher for portfolio, but I was surprised that they didn't have Microsoft Paint on the computer, which is typically a really simple program that you can use for editing pictures. So editing any kind of picture would be kind of difficult on this computer. When I tried to save a document on the computer, I noticed that it had an admin lock and it wouldn't let me save any documents. So it would be virtually impossible to write a resume on one of these computers and upload it. You only get an hour session at a time, and you're not allowed to log back in after you log out. There's also a little timer at the bottom of the screen, just counting away your minutes. There's only about 4 parking spaces in the entire parking lot, 2 of which are employee-only spaces, so there's not a lot of room to park at this library. After this, I made way to my local library, which is a West Bloomfield branch. This library has a lot more amenities than the one that I visited in Detroit. This one has over 100 computers for anyone to use. They've got multiple private study rooms for group usage. They have a fireplace. They've got private study desks as well as private computers. They even have a young adult or teen section for people that specifically want to work on projects or work on the computers if they're in high school or middle school. They've got a music selection, video game selection. And they have a children's section which has a selection of iPads that they can have and rent out. They also have their own computers. They even have a cafe you can go to if you're hungry. So the computer had a similar sign-on screen, except you don't need a library card in order to access it. The computers over here actually had Adobe Photoshop and Premiere Pro for editing of resumes or portfolios. I was surprised that they actually only had Microsoft Office from 2007, though, while the Detroit computers had Office from 2013. These computers had a similar regulation screen for using the internet, but if you press the backspace button, you don't have to agree to anything, which is what I did. These computers also came equipped with scanners, headphones. It was much more difficult to try to apply to a job on the Detroit computers versus West Bloomfield